Discrimination can be defined as treating a person or group differently based on race, sex, religion, culture, or disability. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines discrimination as the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, or sex. In an attempt to prevent discrimination against people with disabilities, the United States passed the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990. This act is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. Although this act has improved discrimination against people with disabilities, it has not completely changed popular culture. Misunderstandings and lack of education regarding hearing impairments has created an atmosphere of both passive and active discrimination against hearing impairments. I attended a class this past summer to learn American Sign Language. This class was provided by the Arkansas School for the Deaf. At this class, I was told that many of the children that attend this school for the first time do not have any form of communications besides pointing to what they want. Imagine only being able to communicate your most basic needs to someone. Although there is an early process for scanning hearing loss, there is not a system in place to get these children, and more importantly, their primary caregivers, into their learning classes. Who will assist the parents with access to these classes? It is readily recognized that children who are deaf or hard of hearing are at high risk for delays in communication. Language development and demonstrative problems with social and emotional development because of the central role that language plays in these essential areas. More education is needed to improve process to available services for these children. In the article, estimates the wages discrimination against workers with sensory disabilities with control for job demands. Marjorie Baldwin and Chung Cho wrote that median earnings of the hearing impaired were 71% of the median earnings of the non-hearing impaired. They also indicate that people with sensory disabilities experience lower rates of promotion, less job stability, and tendency to be underemployed. In the United States, laws prohibit employment discrimination based on disabilities. As long as the disability does not impair the employee's ability to do the job, the Americans with Disabilities Act requires the employer to make responsible accommodations for the employee's disabilities. In the case of the hearing impaired person, this might include installing a speech-to-text service for the cell phone calls, keeping written records of meetings, and hiring sign language translator. Keep in mind that this accommodation also has to be reasonable for the employer. In her article, Fighting Workshop Discrimination Against the Hearing Impaired, Jenna Shaw wrote, "Workers with hearing impairments and their employers struggle daily to find solutions so that hearing impairment does not interfere with performance." Again, education seems to be the key to solving some of these issues. Ms. Shaw suggests that many workplace discriminations could be prevented by consulting an audiologist to access that environment and provide suggestions for improvement. Discrimination can also be found in various other settings, such as hospitals and businesses. This service that serves the community. Communication systems that would include access for the hearing impaired and not readily built into organizations consider loudspeakers for announcements. How would someone with hearing impairment know how an announcement to evaluate the building? How would a hearing impaired person communicate to a healthcare professional in an emergency situation? More education is needed to improve these situations and to take more proactive approach to the preventing.